There's no place like home. But the Cleveland Indians return to the rock and roll city quietly, down 2-0 in a best-of-5. Then yesterday, with the game tied, the bases loaded, Albert Belle at the plate, and 44,000 voices in chorus. There's a home run! Grand slam for Albert Belle! Momentum changed dugouts. The Indians had returned home, won it back, and the home field advantage had been reestablished. Now the Orioles are on the defensive. What went so well seems so far away. Now they're in hostile territory, but they still hold the lead. An Orioles win today will keep the Indians home. For the winter, the American League champions are still only one game from elimination.
And as the Indians take the field, let's take a look at Baltimore's batting order, leading off with Brady Anderson, who had 50 home runs from that leadoff spot. Todd Zeile bats second. Roberto Alomar, fresh from the spitting incident with umpire John Hirschbeck, is third. Rafael Palmeiro bats cleanup. Bobby Bonilla and Cal Ripken add power. Eddie Murray, who came back to Baltimore from the Indians in mid-season's the DH. Pete Incaviglia and Chris Hoiles round out the lineup. Incaviglia and Zeile came over in a late-season trade from the Philadelphia Phillies. They'll face Cleveland's best pitcher, Charles Nagy, out of the University of Connecticut, has been their ace all season. And your announcers are John Miller, Kirby Puckett, and Dave Campbell.
We're just about ready to begin play. Now, yesterday, we played a 4 o'clock ball game here. That proved to be fateful for the Orioles because Bobby Bonilla dropped a fly ball hit by the first Cleveland hitter of the day. But today, Kirby, the situation a little bit more ideal for the outfielders than that late afternoon start. Brady Anderson, first ball swinging, 0-1.
Well, no doubt about that. Regardless, the sun's out today, and all outfielders are going to have a tough time, especially later on in the game. The right fielders are going to be the one with the sun in their eyes again today. So I look forward to, we'll keep our eye on Bobby and see what happens over there. But the sun is tough here, just like it is in any other ballpark, and I look for the guys to pretty much try to make the plays as easy as possible.
Brady Anderson, who led off the game against Nagy last Tuesday with a home run in Baltimore, is 4 for 12 in the series with 2 home runs. Todd Zeile and Roberto Alomar will follow. That slider misses. 2 balls and a strike. Nagy ended up being charged with 7 runs and 9 hits in only 5 1/3 innings Tuesday. And we'll keep a close eye on him today because this is the first time in his life that he has ever started with only 3 days rest. Close one there, and he did not get the call. 3-1.
John, every pitch so far from Charles has been down, and that's a big difference in game 1. He may have been too strong. He was very well rested. Could be for a sinker ball or pitching short could be a blessing.
And a walk. Well, he was down and down and down, and finally Brady Anderson gets down to first base.
He was down in the flats with that one, Kirby.
Well, I think he'd rather see it down than be up like it was in game 1. Charles Nagy is very competitive, and I think he wants to come out. He's pitching at home, and I think he's going to be he's real pumped up right now, and hopefully he can settle in and get that the sinker ball working, and hopefully he's Orioles can hit some balls and make some ground ball outs for him.
Todd Zeile, the hitter. 7th inning, had a study in contrasts yesterday. Zeile came up in a bunting situation, could not get the bunt down, and hit a double play ball. Down the left field line, Omar Vizquel looking up into the sunshine, makes the catch.
Terrific play by Omar. He took that away from a fan. It was over the railing, so the fan has a right to the ball, but Omar just snatched it away. He can't see it. Omar calls it, and you see him. That fan had a right to the ball, but if you're a good Cleveland fan, you should be getting out of the way and give Vizquel a shot. But Omar went in and made the play.
1 down, Roberto Alomar now, and this was the case yesterday. Alomar being booed heavily as he comes to the plate. He takes a called strike. Alomar has not had a good series with the bat so far. Only 2 for 11. Check swing. And the appeal is denied by the third base umpire, Jim Evans. 1-1. Anderson at first. Anderson, the Orioles' leading base stealer during the season, with 21 steals, being held to the bag by Julio Franco. Rafael Palmeiro is on deck. Anderson gets back to the bag.
Brady at one time back last year had 36 consecutive steals over a couple of years. But John, I know you've told me he's got a huge lump on his thigh that's bothered him some this year.
And not the size of a golf ball. And they told him early in the year he needed to take about 10 days off to let it fully heal and get over it. He took about 3 days off and said the heck with it. Of course, then later in the year he had appendicitis, and 3 different doctors told him he should have an appendectomy, the surgery. Brady said, well, I'm going to go for a 4th opinion. And finally somebody said, well, you might be able to get through without having the surgery. So Brady said, that's exactly what I thought. And of course, all of the symptoms of the appendicitis have since gone away. But Brady has had these various problems this year and still put together a dream season.
Dr. Brady. Sounds like a TV show.
One ball and 2 strikes to Alomar. And Nagy taking pains to keep Anderson close at first base. And he managed to foul that one off. The bat ends up over by Jeff Kent.
There's a ground bat to third, fielded by Kent.
Alomar did a great job right there just to put the bat on it. That was a tough pitch going away from him. He just tried to do anything he could just to throw the bat out there and get just to fight it off.
1-2. Anderson bluffed as though he were going to be running there. And Alomar came up ready to throw the ball as if Brady were running, but he was not. 2-2 the count.
I thought I saw in the game you and Joe did on Wednesday, Alomar take one peek back at his brother to see where he was set up. He was not looking that time.
And Brady dives back to the bag at first again. Alomar, unlike Jack McDowell, has never had particular success with Nagy. Now Anderson is running. And that one into left center field. Lofton makes the catch. And Anderson back to first ahead of the throw. Now Lofton seemed to struggle on that catch.
Could have something to do with the sun, maybe. But that's why Kate Lofton's one of the best right there. He didn't get the greatest jump in the world. It seemed like the ball just kept going on him. Kept going away from him, kept going. It seems like he's carrying a little bit today as compared to last night. And he just keeps going, looks up there and finally gets a glove on it. The ball is carrying quite a bit.
You see that? I mean, he just barely did catch up to it. Yeah. Now Rafael Palmeiro. Anderson still at first, 2 down. There goes Anderson. Alomar's throw. Out! Kenny Lofton coming up for Cleveland. We'll be back.
So Brady Anderson picks the wrong time to try to steal a base. The Indians get out of trouble in the top of the first, and they'll bat in the bottom of the first, leading off with Kenny Lofton. Omar Vizquel bats second. Kevin Seitzer, who they picked up from the Brewers when no one could step in and take Eddie Murray's place as designated hitter, bats third. Albert Belle's cleanup. Julio Franco and Manny Ramirez follow him. Jeff Kent is next. Sandy Alomar, the other of the Alomar brothers, is the catcher. Omar Vizquel is at second base. Kent and Vizquel came over from the Mets in that trade for Carlos Baerga. The Indians will be facing Baltimore's big left-hander David Wells on the mound. And the first batter Wells will have to face is Kenny Lofton.
One of the first 2 games, they were able to keep Lofton off the base paths in the early innings especially. But not yesterday. Bonilla dropped the fly ball in the first inning. Moments later, Lofton, who had gotten to second base, stole third, and that set the tone for the rest of the day. So Cleveland put just spectacular pressure on the Orioles all through the rest of the ball game.
Kenny scored 2 runs yesterday, and when he scored 2 or more during the regular season, the Indians were 28-6.
Come on, Kenny, babe.
And that's fouling out of play off the third base side. 1-1 to Kenny Lofton. Now Lofton, on a steal attempt late in the ball game, collided head first with Cal Ripken's left knee. And Kirby, how's Kenny? Is he got any stiffness? Is he all right today?
Well, I talked to him before the game, and he said he felt just fine. He said nothing hurt. He said, but it hurt when it happened a little bit yesterday. But at this point in the season, nothing hurts.
Nice pickup by David Wells, and he has kept Lofton off the base paths in the first inning today.
Well, yourself, if you can field your position, Wells fell a little bit off to the side, but still recovered. As we look at that Oriole defense, which played flawlessly in games 1 and 2, but had some breakdowns yesterday. Pete Incavilla replaces B.J. Surhoff. Surhoff out with not only the knee problem, but he aggravated a hamstring in the other leg yesterday.
Pete Incavilla, acquired with Todd Zeile from Philadelphia in late August, with a grand slam for the Orioles in his first game with them to win a ball game. Here is Omar Vizquel up in the number 2 spot. Of course, as he takes a fastball for a strike, that's rather familiar to fans because last year for Cleveland, that's where he hit almost the whole season. Vizquel has had an excellent division series offensively. Zeile very shallow at third. It is 1-1 now. We've seen Wells again start out with a lot of fastballs here.
A lot of fastballs. I think he's going to pound, try to pound Vizquel inside. I think he's going to go with the same strategy he went with game 1 until he can show him different.
Curveball. Did he swing? No, says first base umpire Al Clark. And it is 2-1.
Omar always had the magical glove, and he's just made himself a better hitter. Sometimes those light-hitting switch hitters keep working at it. Ozzie Smith, when he first came to the big leagues, you could knock the bat out of his hands. He became a great hitter.
And 3-1. And here's what he did in game 1 in terms of the fastball frequency, and almost all fastballs in that game.
Must have felt he had a good one. What was going that day? Fastballs were working.
It's a walk.
Now, we mentioned the Indians were absolutely relentless on the base pass yesterday. The numbers sure favor Vizquel running in this situation. Runners successful 24 out of 30 times against David Wells. Hoiles again only threw out 17% during the season.
Kevin Seitzer, also one of yesterday's heroes for Cleveland. 2 hits, 3 RBIs.
Come on, Kevin.
Hitting in the 3rd spot today against David Wells, with Jim Thome on the bench. Vizquel was running yesterday. They all were yesterday, and they have been in this series, and they have been all year against the Orioles. In 15 games against Baltimore, Cleveland has stolen 31 bases and been thrown out twice attempting to steal. So it would only be surprising if they didn't steal a few. The Orioles have stolen 1 so far. And 1 to Seitzer.
The only man thrown out in this series was Hoiles getting Vizquel, but that's because Omar slid past the bag. He had the stolen base easily and slid right off the base.
Orioles have to have a brief chat with David Wells.
Come on, Omar. Be patient. Be patient.
Kevin Seitzer with Vizquel at first. Seitzer is hitting .385 in this series. And back to the bag is Vizquel.
Omar certainly didn't look like he had any inclination to run right there. Perfect hit and run situation. Seitzer can really handle the bat, get some kind of movement in the infield, create an extra hole for him.
How about you, Kirby? You like that hit and run thought?
Well, Kevin can handle the bat really well, like Dave said. And I'm going on a limb and saying he'll hit this ball to right field when he does hit it.
Hit the big hole on the right side.
It's not really big as it looks because you got a guy at second base that catches everything. So it's probably an illusion, but I'm going on a limb and say Kevin's definitely going to hit the ball to the right side here.
And Alomar seems to be especially good at going to his left into that hole.
I don't think he's good at going left or right.
One ball and no strikes to Kevin Seitzer.
David Wells going to the slide step. That'll neutralize a lot of base running. I think maybe Vizquel could be on his own in this situation. He's just reading Wells. If David picks up the front foot and goes to the high leg kick, he may go. If it's a slide step, he won't go unless Hargrove has the hit and run on.
I thought Seitzer was trying to go to the right side there.
I guess I was right, huh?
Finally. It's about time. Slide step again, and again a foul off to the right. 1-2 the count. Look like that old right field swing again there, or what?
Yeah, Kevin can handle the bat, and he knows that, like I said, that's a big hole over there between first and second. He's going to try to get it over there and hopefully get Vizquel to third base.
Yeah, that's the whole key. Where you go to the right side and Bonilla doesn't throw particularly well, you got a lot better chance of Vizquel going to third than if he gets a base hit to left field.
And a real Milwaukee Brewer flavor to this series, or at least we have so far, with Seitzer doing well for Cleveland and B.J. Surhoff 3 home runs for Baltimore. It's just that the Brewers themselves are not here. And the pitch up and in, and still hitting it off to the right side and foul.
Oriole franchise making their 8th visit to postseason in 43 years, and the 3 home runs by B.J. Surhoff, the most any Orioles ever hit in one series.
A.B. Johnson was with the Orioles a few times in postseason play as a player. 66, 69, 70, 71. Well, steps off the slab, looking Vizquel back. Ripken at short, Alomar at second. Pulled in a bit, double play depth. You see Palmeiro on the bag at first with Vizquel. No score in the game, last of the first. 1 out. 2-2. A little erratic right now with that fastball.
Yeah, it seems to be in the first game he was throwing lots of strikes and getting ahead of guys and kind of putting them away. But this game he seems to be a little high, a little bit. But I think that he'll make the adjustment. He's been around a long time, and I'm going to limb right here and say that Vizquel's going right here.
There he goes. Down on strikes. Ripken. I mean, an accurate throw, but Hoiles with that arthritis. This looks like he's throwing a changeup down there. Belle. Well, that was the height of drama last night. 4-4 tie, bases loaded. The powerful Benitez, and they built the drama just as you would in a novel. I mean, he threw a couple of those hard ones, and Belle could not catch up. And then finally he did.
Right now, Chris Hoiles keeps looking in the dugout to see if Davy Johnson might want to walk over, but Julio Franco, 322 average behind, and at least they'll start off pitching to Belle. Now, whether he's going to give in or not, I don't know.
Vizquel at second. Ball one.
I think this is definitely a big game for the Orioles today. I don't think they want to go to a game 5 with the Indians. It's kind of tough to win in this ballpark as it is. And as soon as they can get a lead, they should try to grab the lead, and hopefully Wells can hold them down.
Wells and Belle, many times. Belle went 0 for 3 against him on Tuesday in Baltimore. Strike at the outside. 1-1. Belle, in fact, did not get the ball out of the infield against Wells on Tuesday. A couple of ground balls to third and a foul out to third. No score. Last of the first. 2 down. Cleveland with a man at second base. And one of the great sluggers in the game today, Albert Belle at the plate.
Just a single, Albert. Come on.
2-1. Trying to stay at the knees of the outside.
Kirby, yesterday Armando Benitez shook off breaking ball 2 or 3 times. Now Wells is throwing 3 consecutive fastballs to Albert all the way. Albert, an awfully smart hitter. What do you think he's going to look for here?
Well, if he knows if Wells knows if he comes inside, he's going to come in really hard and hope that it's off the plate. If he comes in and misses, that could hurt him a little bit. So I think he's going to primarily just stay away from Albert, if I had to guess right here.
It is 3-1.
Well, he came in and it was off the plate, although Wells didn't think so. And again, Albert probably thinking along the same lines as you. I think he was looking away and maybe going to take a shot at that right field fence.
Well, now they're just going to go ahead and walk him. Now that it's gone to 3-1, they're not going to fool around with it any longer.
Smart move.
Franco, obviously a great veteran hitter, but he is 1 for 11 in this series. So Davey Johnson just goes percentage-wise there.
Which he would have done last night if Casey Candell had gotten the bunt down instead of being walked by Jesse Orozco, which was an interesting play by Mike Hargrove in a tie ball game. He took out his left-handed slugger to put in the bunter, and had the bunter succeeded, he would have also lost his top slugger, Albert Belle, to the walk.
Well, after yesterday's game, everybody, boy, nice job, Mike, nice job. He made some decisions yesterday that could have backfired on him, but when you win, you're brilliant.
Everything, well, and that's the nature of the job, right?
That's right.
2 men on, 2 men out. And with vizquel distracting him off second base, Wells steps off the slide.
There's only one perfect science in all of life in baseball, and that's called hindsight.
That's what I'm good at. 2 out, 2 on. Julio Franco. He has not hit in this series well so far. He takes ball 1. Franco with just 1 hit in 11 at-bats. In the regular season, he was at his very best in situations like this, getting that runner or runners home from second or third.
I think Julio Franco will make the adjustment. Good hitters usually make adjustments.
Fastball on the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Wells just ran back, just playing some good old hard fastball right here. Good old-fashioned baseball right there. Threw it right by him.
And tried it again. This time Franco got a piece of it, fouling it off to the right, and Wells is into the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Kirby, let me ask you a question. As a hitter, Vizquel's doing a lot of dancing at second. I never liked a guy trying to steal third when I had 2 strikes on me because it just had a little bit of distraction. But it looks like Vizquel's trying to get a jump. How much does that bother you as a hitter?
Well, it doesn't bother me. I don't look at him anyway. I'm watching Wells all the way, and if the runner takes off, he takes off. And if it's a strike or if it's not a strike, usually I was going to be swinging anyway, so it didn't matter.
So that little deflection out of the corner of your eye doesn't bother you?
It doesn't bother me.
And again the fastball away, and again Franco hits it foul.
John, there it is. Now we know why I was a bad hitter. He was a good hitter. I was looking at the runner. He was looking at the pitcher.
No, but actually, Dave, it does bother a lot of hitters. I think Albert Belle, I was talking to him earlier today, and I think that bothers him when Kenny Lofton, whoever's on second, and jumps around. I mean, if you're going to go, I think you'd just rather have him just go, and that's it. I mean, jumping around, they don't go anywhere.
Well, Mike
kind of
Schmidt,
distracts him a little bit.
Mike Schmidt hated it. I mean,
I think it bothers a lot more hitters than it doesn't.
1-2 to Franco. Well, he keeps trying the same thing to the fastball to the outside. And Franco has not been able to catch up to it yet.
I think what David Wells is going to do here is try to go up on in the strike zone on Julio, and hopefully he swings at it. Against Messina yesterday, Julio was struggling, hasn't hit well against him, and he was just trying to swing at everything and just try to put it in play. Wells needs, this is a big out for Wells right here.
And he has labored here in the first inning. He's thrown 24 pitches already in this inning. No score. 2 out, 2 on. Curveball. He struck him out swinging. A ball to the dirt. Hoiles tags him out, and that's the end of the threat. Palmeiro, Bonilla, and Cal Ripken coming up. No score from the Jake. Ball 1 from Charles Nagy. David Wells on 3 days of rest. Labored here in the early going in his first inning. Nagy seemed to have a much easier time of it. Palmeiro lifts a high drive deep to right field. This one is way back there, and this one is gone. A home run for Palmeiro. Just a high soaring fly, and Kirby Puckett mentioned many times yesterday the ball seems to carry very well down each line here and into straightaway right field. It just looked like a high routine looking fly ball, but obviously he hit it pretty well.
Well, even though you see the flagpole not moving, the ball generally carries well here. From the 375 sign over to the right of the 375, the ball flies out of there no matter what. Yesterday was blowing across. You see Rafael Palmeiro is a good hitter, man. Goes down and gets that fastball from Nagy and just lifts it and just lofts it, like you said, and it goes out.
Now Bobby Bonilla, and he takes ball 1. Well, Palmeiro's bat has been kind of missing from this series. Set the Orioles all-time record for RBIs in the regular season, 142, and hit 39 home runs, and had only 1 RBI with no homers in the first 3 games of this series. Bonilla with a count now of 2 balls and no strikes. Now you see, last night the wind was blowing hard in from right field, and there's hardly any wind, at least as evidenced by the big flag out there, at all in the ballpark today. 3-0 to Bobby Bonilla. And Nagy gives one up to Palmeiro, and now he's 3-0 with Bonilla. Bonilla socks one deep into right center field. This one is going. It is gone. Back-to-back home runs. Bonilla going deep on a 3-0 pitch.
Well, Bobby probably figured right there that'd probably be the only fastball that he gets, something good to hit. And it was a fastball right down the middle, and he hit it good.
Well, it appeared Nagy got a little tentative after giving up the home run to Rafael Palmeiro, so he was nibbling. Then he probably figured Bonilla, still with nobody out, might be taking a pitch, grooved one, and Bobby crushed it.
Second home run of the series for Bonilla.
Well, another low fastball. Bobby just went out and got that. Strong man, Bobby Bonilla. Nice, powerful swing. Stays back. Hit off the front foot hitter.
So Bobby Bo hit 28 home runs in the regular year. He's got 2 here in the postseason.
8 homers for the Orioles in the series in 4 games. The most prolific home run hitting team ever, the 1996 Baltimore Orioles.
Now Ripken is 6 for 12 in this series. No homers. He hit 26 home runs in the regular season. And he looked like he was aiming for Lake Erie on that one.
I think that's what you call cheat on the fastball right there. I think Rip was looking for a little something else, and Nagy took a little bit off the pitch. He's way out in front of it. There's Rip with his another new stance. Ball just sinks on him right there.
He may have another new stance by the time he comes up the next time in this game.
May have it this pitch.
Crowding the plate, feet spread wide apart in a crouch. And the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now Nagy is a guy you expect he's going to keep the ball in the ballpark when he's right. Sinker baller. And he did most of the year keep the ball in the park, but he's given up 4 home runs now in this series. Ripken is down on strikes. 1 away.
What a good job by Sandy Alomar to go out and talk to Nagy after he gave up the back-to-back homers. And I think, you know, sometimes even a veteran pitcher like Nagy can have their confidence shaken. Sandy said, hey, your stuff's still good. You just got to locate better.
Well, the home runs that were hit they were off good pitches, so I think sometimes you have to give hitters credit too. And they went down, Palmeiro golfed it, and Bobby went down and got that one 10 away from them. So they're good pitches, but these are good hitters in the major leagues also.
Here's Eddie Murray. And Murray has come back to Cleveland with a hot bat, hitting .364 in this series, although actually he should be hitting better than that. The bad call by the umpire last night cost him a hit. Bonilla, his first RBI, his first home run since the grand slam in game 1 on Tuesday that opened that game, and Palmeiro with his first home run of the series.
It's just what Baltimore needed today to get off to a good start, and hopefully Wells can keep everything under control, and hopefully they can win. That's what they're hoping.
He swung at it. 0-2 to Murray.
Eddie a little out in front on that pitch. I think he looked for something else, and I think that was a fork ball. And with that big old bat Eddie uses, he couldn't stay back, keep his hands back.
This time he took it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cavilla is on deck.
Sometimes the hardest thing for a hitter to do is once you get out in front of a pitch, and once you try to stop your swing, a check swing, it's the hardest thing in the world to do.
Pretty important for Nagy to make a statement to his teammates. Hey, I gave up 2, but I'm not going to cave in. I'm going to come right back after him. He strikes out Ripken and Murray. Good looking pitch tailing away. Sinker ball. Or is that a fork ball going down and away from Eddie Murray?
Yeah, it was a fork ball. A good one, too.
A nasty one. Breaking down and away. It should only be allowed to break one way at a time, I think. Here is Pete Incaviglia. Strikeout pick. Incaviglia was used mostly against left-handed pitching once he came to Baltimore. And of course, even with Philadelphia, that's primarily the way they used him. He ended up with 18 home runs. He ended up being 2 home runs shy of being the 10th Oriole player to have had 20 home runs or more this year. I guess 9 is enough, though, probably.
Well, I talked to Inky earlier today and a little bit yesterday. And, you know, as you know, he's been well-traveled. And he said he had a good time in Japan, but he was just happy to be back over here. And especially happy to be in the playoffs with the Orioles.
And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Incaviglia was told by Jim Fregosi in late July, said, hey, we're going to go with the rookies now. We're going to try and trade you, but you won't be playing much. So Incaviglia went into his off-season weight training program. And by the time he was traded to the Orioles a month later, he was huge. 2-2. And at the time he came to Baltimore, he was so big that everybody in the ball club would gather around his locker when he'd take his shirt off after a game.
A little clubhouse humor, huh? Not much of that goes on.
Ooh, up the middle. He almost hit that one off the ground, didn't he?
I'll tell you what, this series we've seen some hard hit balls up the middle. That ball that Belle hit off Mussina, a curveball yesterday. I know Mussina probably didn't sleep well last night, but I tell you what, it scared me up here in the booth. He almost killed him. And ball by Incaviglia, hadn't played the whole time, right off the end of the bat, but he's so big and strong. I guess those muscles come into play at some point.
Look out, Charles.
Right at Charles. Man. Even though he's a good fielder, he couldn't get in position quick enough to knock that one down.
The ball by Albert and Mussina woke me up twice last night.
I saw Mussina in the dugout today. He still looked a little white. Yeah, he looked like he still had some nervous lips on that one.
Chris Hoiles, and it is 0-1. 2-0 Baltimore here. Cleveland had a threat in the first inning. 2 men on and 2 men out, but could not score. And right away here in the second, Palmeiro and Bonilla with back-to-back home runs against Nagy. It is 2-0 for the Orioles. Hoiles, the 9th place hitter, standing in. He is 1 for 4 in this series. 0-2.
Looks like Nagy has a good fork ball today. He's throwing it a lot. He's got hitters way out in front of that pitch, it seems like.
We'll watch right here, which is one of the great things, one of the best things about being able to broadcast is not having to try to hit that kind of pitch anymore.
Oh. You're so right, Dave. You're so right.
So the Nagy forkball working effectively, but the Orioles have gone ahead in this must-win game for Cleveland.
In the bottom of the second, Manny Ramirez led off with this double, but the Indians batters left him stranded and left Baltimore 2-0 up. We move now to the top of the third. Baltimore's leadoff batter, Brady Anderson, is back at the plate.
Top of the order coming up for the Orioles now. Third inning, 2-0 Baltimore. Nagy with the breaking ball down and into Brady Anderson. Brady walked his first time, but then was thrown out trying to steal to end the inning a little bit later in the first. Did not hit it well. That had that hollow ring to it, and there is one away.
John,
1-0.
Yeah, John, a lot of times a defense has to pick up a pitcher who's struggling. David Wells picked up his defense after the bad play in right field by Bonilla and Anderson not getting together. Wells got out of the inning.
And that's a good point to make, because it's a team game. I mean, sometimes the defense not going to be there, and that the pitcher needs to step forth, or vice versa. Sometimes the pitcher's struggling, the defense comes in and bails him out.
Well, as badly as the Orioles played defensively yesterday, still that tremendous play by Cal Ripken in the third inning allowed Messina to stay in and right the ship, and he pitched very well from that point on.
He made that play, and then the Orioles the next inning went ahead on Surhoff's homer. That one is a liner into left field, a base hit. Again, Nagy keeping the ball down, but Zeile went down and golfed that one. Good play by Belle to hold him to a single.
Like you said, Zeile went down and got that pitch. That's a good pitch again by Nagy. Pitch right there is going sinking, and Zeile just waited and went down and got it and hit a nice line drive to left field for a base hit.
One out, one on, and here is Roberto Alomar. 2-0 for the Orioles. We're in the third inning. Alomar flied out deep to left center. Lofton ended up making a nice catch on it. Almost caught by vizquel. And that will keep Zeile from going past second base. Man, vizquel almost made one of the more spectacular plays you will ever see.
The play Ripken made yesterday, even though it was on one hop, was very similar. It's so close. It was right in the webbing of his glove and jumped out. Alomar again going the other way. Vizquel so close.
Vizquel and Alomar in the American League are two of the only guys who could make a play like that. I mean, that kind of acrobatic type play. Here is Palmeiro. But I mean, Cal Ripken has made some plays that kind of you say, man, is Cal young enough to make plays like that?
Well, Chuck Knobloch could have probably made it too for the Minnesota Twins. He's a pretty good player. A lot of players.
Yeah, talk about moving Cal to third. He may be getting them to rethink that the way he's played shortstop in this series.
That's exactly what kind of motivates Cal right now. And he said as much earlier when they talked about moving him to third. He said, hey, maybe I need to work harder. Maybe I've been taking it for granted. I obviously need to show these people I'm still the man to play shortstop for them. Rafael Palmeiro homered his first time. 2 men on, 1 man out. Nice pitch on the inside. Palmeiro didn't like the call much.
Nagy's got to get out of this inning to keep the crowd involved. If the Orioles put some crooked numbers on the board this inning, that's going to really silence this crowd.
And that Cleveland bullpen is busy just in case. Well, he struck out Eddie Murray in a pitch much like that back in the second inning. In the bullpen, right-hander Chad O.J., a member of the regular starting rotation. The second half of the season is warming up just in case. The Orioles already have a 2-run lead against Nagy. Zeile at second, Alomar at first, 1 out. Struck him out. That's a big one.
good fork ball from Nagy. He's got a good one today. Keeping the ball down, that's choking it off, and the fork ball just going straight down. Rafael Palmeiro out in front a little bit and can't reach it.
Last 5 outs in the game for Nagy, 4 strikeouts and a looping drive to right by Brady Anderson. But in between, he's been in the middle of the plate, and the Orioles have hit him hard.
Here's Bobby Bonilla. He homered to right center his first time. That's a shot deep down the right field line. It is hooking foul. And he hit that one hard and just a little bit out in front of it, maybe 10 or 12 feet foul.
It seems like Bobby has one thing on his mind. He wants to pull a ball. I'm sure that pitch was probably going away from him, but he's stepping across the plate and getting it. I think Nagy probably won't think about coming inside on him right here.
You know, the grand slam he hit against Paul Shuey the other day looked to me like it was down and it was away. He just went out and raked it.
Zeile at second base. Alomar at first. Both better to go anything with 2 down in the third. 1-1 to Bonilla. Bonilla has always done well against Nagy, it turns out. 6 for 11. We say always. I mean, Bonilla never came to the American League till the second half of last year. But Nagy, I'm sure, has already seen too much of him. That's a swing. Jim Evans on the appeal. Another great pitch by Nagy.
He's getting that downward tilt on his breaking ball, and the Orioles have not been able to hit it today.
The crowd has risen to its feet now. 1-2 to Bonilla. That's a foul. Just barely got a piece of that one.
I think if Nagy even thinks about throwing a fastball here, he's going to try to get it up and get it above Bonilla's hands. Bobby likes, Davey Johnson wants him to check the ball because of that foul ball going into the dirt. You know, a new baseball is going to be thrown out.
Davey would like to see the Orioles open it up a little bit here early. So the Orioles with 2 men on and 1 man out, and Palmeiro and Bonilla coming up, and Nagy strikes them both out. The Indians are still breathing.
It was 3 up, 3 down for the Indians in the bottom of the third. So at the top of the fourth, it's Orioles shortstop Cal Ripken, baseball's Iron Man, leading off.
Game 4 of the American League Division Series. The Orioles and the Indians. The Orioles lead 2 games to 1. Now hits this one hard, but right to Jeff Kennedy. 1 away. Eddie Murray, the hitter. And it's ball 1 outside.
One of the things to watch for is Sandy Alomar. Right at the last second, he'll set a target. And he told me with Nagy and Hershiser, he wants to set it way inside because their ball moves back so much.
Toward the middle. Vizquel can't get back to it. He was way over toward the first base line, playing Murray to pull.
Take a look back at a strikeout in the third inning, Bobby Bonilla. Watch Alomar's glove. Right as Nagy's taking a look, he sets it inside. That's not to deceive the hitter. He's trying to give Nagy something inside so the ball will come back and away, because he said he has to set it there, and you see him getting Bonilla on the strikeout. First pitch to Eddie Murray, he set up in the middle of the plate. Nagy was about 2 feet outside with the pitch.
Well, I guess if you're going to miss, that's where you want to miss.
Pete Incaviglia. He singled right past Nagy his first time into center field. Takes a strike, and it is 0-1. Incaviglia was in the postseason just 3 years ago with the Philadelphia Phillies, that ball club that defeated the Atlanta Braves in the League Championship Series and went to that wild World Series with the Toronto Blue Jays. Incaviglia takes the ball outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. He could be a guy who never played a day in the minor leagues. He came right out of college and into the big leagues with the Texas Rangers and hit 30 home runs in his rookie year. And ironically, never really equaled that year again. And a foul off his foot. When the Orioles were getting ready to clinch the wild card berth, a lot of the veteran players were saying, man, should we have a big celebration for that? I mean, you know, it's kind of like we kind of snuck in through the back door. And then I asked Incaviglia what he thought. He says, I'm going to go out and tear the town apart. I'm telling you, we win his wild card. And I'll see you the next morning sometime.
Well, you have to enjoy stuff like this. A lot of players play their whole careers and don't get a chance to do this.
Eddie Murray back to the bag at first base. Murray with the Orioles in World Series 79 and again in 83. And with Cleveland last year in the World Series. 2-2.
Kind of interesting with Charles Nagy throwing over to first base. Obviously, Eddie at 40, not too much speed over there right now, but he does have 4 steals this year, and Nagy knows that if a pitcher just goes to sleep on him, Eddie Murray in a big game will steal it if you're not paying any attention to him.
Struck him out, and that is number 6 for Nagy. Chris Hoiles struck out his first time. Murray had to make a dive back to the bag. And he was in safely. It's ironic you mentioned the 40-year-old Murray. He has the Orioles' only steal in this series.
Standing up.
He's been their running game. I guess that means your running game's a little trouble if he's the running game. The infield, other than Franco, playing Hoiles to pull. And there's a ball.
I think the one thing about Nagy today, excuse me, John, is that he's got good arm motion with his forkball, and to a hitter it looks like a fastball coming to you, and then all of a sudden he's got this good arm motion, then it's a forkball, and the bottom just drops out. Tough pitch to pick up as a hitter.
2 down, Murray at first. We're in the 4th inning. 2-0 Baltimore, and that catches the outside. 1-1 to Hoiles. Were you able to pick it up? I mean, if a guy had a good forkball, could you pick up some kind of motion on the ball or something? That would tell you.
No, not always. As a hitter, it's the toughest thing, one of the toughest things you can do.
Hard sinker down and in. 2-1. Well, he really has kept the ball down today, hasn't he? I mean,
I think I was just going to bring that up. I mean, the mistakes he made. He got one ball up to Bonilla on a 3-0 pitch. He crushed, but for the most part, he's been down the entire day. Could be because he's just locating better, or a little bit tired has allowed him to stay down.
Two and 2 to Hoiles. He hasn't thrown to Hoiles a straight one all day, has he?
Well, Charles Nagy knows that location is important. And what do they say? Like pitching's like real estate. The 3 most important things are location, location, and location. And it doesn't hurt to change speeds as well.
And what's the 4th most important thing?
Location.
All right. Murray back to the bag at first. I think he seems real concerned with Eddie running over there for some reason.
I think he just wants to make sure that Eddie doesn't take off on him.
Brady Anderson on deck. 2 down, 4th inning. And the forkball. 7 strikeouts for Nagy. Albert Belle coming up for Cleveland. 2-0 the Orioles in game 4. Two runs, 6 hits for the Orioles. No runs, 1 hit for Cleveland. Wells has issued 2 walks. One, the intentional walk to Belle, and given up just the 1 hit. And that was a ball probably that should have been caught in the outfield. Bonilla, you saw out there with the glasses down in right field. Brady Anderson in center field. Right to him. Man, does that say, man, this maybe is David Wells' day when on just 1 pitch he retires Albert Belle?
Well, he hit a rocket, but those atom balls help you out a lot.
Looked like a pretty fat pitch there, Kirby.
Yeah, he hit it good. He did everything he's supposed to do. Just happens to be he's been a guy out there for over 100 years now, I think.
Wells had 25 pitches in the first inning. He had 45 coming into this one. He could use a low pitch inning.
Ball one to Julio Franco, who struck out in the first. Franco with just the one hit in the series up till now. And he's an important man. I mean, he hits right behind Albert Belle. He's the man to keep them from pitching around Albert. Fastball, and again, every time he swung at a fastball today, he's been behind it.
Well, for whatever reason, the Cleveland Indians last year had a sub-500 record against left-handed pitchers. This year, they were +6, but they dominate right-handed pitching a lot more than they do the lefties.
And until they made the trade for Kevin Seitzer, they were actually at 500 or a little bit below 500 for the year again. This year against the lefties. 1-1 the count. Right field. That's going to be in there. Base hit. Second hit of the series for Julio Franco. The first base runner for Cleveland since Ramirez led off the second with a double.
First time up, he started Franco off with a fastball away and came in, did the same thing again, and Franco inside out a dead ball.
Davey Johnson got his Mets in 1986 into the World Series, and then of course they made one of the great comebacks in Game 6 of that series, and eventually won in Game 7. 1988, the Mets again into the postseason, but they were upset by the Los Angeles Dodgers in a great championship series. Orel Hershiser, a key to that turnaround for LA, and of course he would go here tomorrow if there is a Game 5. Against Davey Johnson again. And there's ball one to Ramirez.
Orel in '88 was on some kind of a mission. He had the 59 consecutive scoreless innings, was the MVP of the NLCS and the World Series. He was about as close to a one-man show as you ever want to see in postseason.
He even got a save in one of those postseason games with the Mets in '88. Here's the Bulldog. He would go here tomorrow night. Line drive. Fair. Franco will be held at third. It's a double for Ramirez, his second in a row.
Manny Ramirez really swinging good. Everything he's hit, it's been hit hard. A fastball inside. Manny stayed inside the ball well and just dropped the head on it. Threw it out there. Threw the bat head out. Fair ball.
Now Manny Ramirez with this double. His second double of the game. He also has 2 home runs in the series. He's hit the ball real well in this series. And now Jeff Kent. Now with Ramirez at second and nobody out. After a double in the second, Jeff Kent flied out. And the Indians never did get Ramirez home. Now Kent gets another shot at it. And one of the raps on him at the Mets the last couple of years was his inability to hit well in the clutch. Strike in the inside.
Big pitch by David Wells. He got behind Ramirez, 1 ball, no strike, so Manny could afford to look for a pitch, and he looked in. But when you go 0-1, the advantage goes to the pitcher.
Franco with a 1-out single, now at third base. Ramirez, who followed with a double, is at second. A base hit to the outfield could tie the game. Baltimore 2, Cleveland nothing, last of the 4th. Came in again. This time Kent gave a shot at it. 0-2 the count. 91-mile-an-hour fastball on the Jugs gun there.
You know, David Wells does not scare. Manny Ramirez whipped that fastball down the left field corner, but Wells knows he's got to utilize both sides of the plate, and he came right back in on Kent.
I think he's going to stay there.
right on the inside, missing this time.
Well, the great left-hander Warren Spahn once said that hitting is timing and the art of pitching is upsetting that timing. Wells is pounding Kent in. Again, we talk about speeding up the bat. The question is Wells going to stay in there, or maybe with Kent thinking inside, he's going to throw the hook to him?
He stays in there. It is 2-2.
Pounded him in 4 times in a row. But as a hitter with 2 strikes, you really can't afford to guess. Wells has got 2 options. Either stay in there or go off speed. He is not throwing a changeup today, but it would probably be curveball or fastball in.
Franco at third, Ramirez at second, 1 out. Fastball in, and he popped him up. 5 straight fastballs to the inside, and Jeff Kent. There's a few of those Cleveland faithfuls a little upset with Jeff Kent.
Well, again, when you get ahead in the count and Wells had him 0-2, you can't look for anything special. You've got to guard the plate. Wells makes a great pitch.
See the swing back Kent. He wanted to stay inside. At the last minute, he kind of just tried to hit the ball the other way instead of just throwing the bat head out front and maybe hitting it. But like you said, with 2 strikes, you become a defensive hitter instead of an offensive hitter.
2 down now. Still 2 men in scoring position. A base hit to the outfield could still tie the game. But Cleveland has not had a hit today with somebody in scoring position. Cleveland is 0 for 5 in these spots. Alomar, strike 1 call. Alomar with Ramirez at second and 1 out in the second inning, popped up to the shortstop. Now Hoiles asked to speak to Wells. How come?
I don't know. Maybe he just wants to talk about the situation. I mean, Wells is in such a good groove. Some pitchers hate to see a catcher coming out when they're in a good groove like that.
Sandy Alomar had one of his down seasons with the bat this year. However, he did hit over 300 in September. He finished up strongly, but he is 1 for 12 in this series. 2 on, 2 out. Fastball in again and up. Alomar hacked at it, fouling it back. That's the Kirby Puckett terminology I've adopted now.
Well, it's kind of tough. I wouldn't try to teach it to anybody. Let's put it that way. It was successful for me when I played, but it's something that you don't teach.
Don't teach going up the hack.
No, I can't teach it to everybody. But I look for David Wells right here to maybe throw another fastball up here. Since Alomar seems to be hacking right now, maybe try to exploit that weakness that he has.
There's Franco at third base. Ramirez at second. He's the possible tying run. 2 down. And again, a pop foul coming back out of play. Wells seems to be having the theory today of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, whatever's working, and he's just staying with it, isn't he?
Dizzy Dean, the old right-hander, used to call it country hardball. Here it is, partner. See if you can hit it. David Wells throwing about 95% fastballs again today.
Albert Belle did not get a chance to bat with anybody out in this inning. Charles Nagy, yeah, it's starting to become a nail-biter. Cleveland has to win today, or it's over. They trail 2-0. Awfully close.
Kirby,
1 and 2.
Kirby, I think the one pitch you don't want to throw here is a fastball away, because Alomar is guarding against the fastball in and also the curveball, but a pitch away from you is the one you can still reach out and maybe poke to the opposite field.
I think he might have been looking outside on that pitch, actually. I think he's looking outside for just something to poke, but Wells seems to be staying inside and pounding everybody in off the plate.
Saw the reaction on David's face. He thought that pitch was maybe a strike.
Yeah, he wanted it.
And that's a tough place for a hitter where he's throwing it. It's hard to get the bat head out in front unless you're really looking inside and you're guessing.
He's got a bug problem today. He's had a few flying around in the booth, and Albert Belle taking aim at one down there, apparently.
Just letting us know it's a sweet game here.
1 and 2 the count. Base hit. Sandy Alomar tied it up.
David Wells never went away from staying in, and finally Alomar got enough bat on the ball to loft it over Zeile's head. He kept pounding into Kent and was successful. He got Alomar 0-2, but Sandy got his arms in and just got enough of it.
So Franco and Ramirez both score. The Indians get the big hit at long last. Yeah. Sandy Alomar delivers. There goes Alomar. The ball is bunted but fouled by Vizquel. Vizquel flied to center his first time. Alomar was running. David Wells, oftentimes after something has not gone well, loses a little bit of his concentration. That's been a problem for him all year long. And he seemed to forget all about Alomar there.
Pretty good job of advanced scouting, perhaps, by the Indians.
As you can see, David's still upset about that pitch that he threw. Kicking dirt and just walking around and trying to get his composure, trying to regain his composure.
It's one of those pitches you say, if he gets Alomar out, man, he went to his strength, he kept pounding in. Then if he gets a base hit, you say, well, maybe you can't throw a major league hitter 5 pitches in a row in the same place.
Check swing foul by Vizquel, out of play. And now it is 0-2.
One of the reasons that baseball is the greatest conversation piece ever invented.
Well, also, I mean, if you're going inside pitch after pitch, I mean, you better keep it well inside, right? I mean, you're also living a little bit dangerously if you don't always quite get it right where you want it.
Well, as a pitcher, they tell you if you're going to get it in, get it in. If you miss, you can get hurt.
Sandy Alomar delivering in the clutch for the Cleveland Indians on a day when nobody else had up till now. Alomar easily back. So Roberto Alomar made all the headlines with the bat this year and almost every year in terms of the Alomar family, but Sandy Alomar, the man who gets the big hit in this ball game, the other Alomar. There goes Alomar. Hoiles throws down. Roberto with a tag. Out! So the kid brother tags out Sandy Alomar to end the inning. But Sandy Alomar has delivered in the clutch. And we start over again. It's 2-2 now. And the top of the order coming up for Baltimore. Anderson, Zeile, and Roberto Alomar.